That is for Deen al-Islam, religion with Allah since time began. That is for dhikr, remembering Allah, and Ra is for the month of Ramadan. Oh, Ramadan. That is for Zakat, to cure our greed, when we give our money to those in need. That is for Salamun Alaykum, peace be with you, wa alaykum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How is Ramadan going? I'm sure we are all enjoying this glorious month of Ramadan. May Allah continue to be with each and every one of us, and may Allah assist us to see to the end of the month. It's been an interesting month. Most of us are righteous at this point in time. We go to our various places of worship most of the time, good for Salat. We pay our due to the necessary people. We've been visiting our friends and colleagues. We've been doing our field. May Allah accept all this from us as an act of ibadah. And equally, many of us have been paying the Zakat. So those of us who are here to pay our Zakat, this is an opportunity to pay the Zakat. So it's also an opportunity for us to maybe engage in Waqf as well, so that we can have a very peaceful community. So today we'll be looking at the role of Zakat and Waqf in conflict resolutions as well as community development. For the past few days that we've been discussing about Zakat and Waqf, by now we all should have a clearer idea of what these terms are. But for the benefit of those who are just coming on board, Zakat is a top pillar of Islam. It simply means taking part of your wealth and distribute to the needy people in our society. When your wealth reaches what we call nisab. Nisab is the minimum amount of money you must have before Zakat becomes obligatory on you. It's an obligatory aspect of charity that we are enjoying to do in Islam. Why Waqf is a complementary aspect of charity that we are supposed to do in Islam, though it is not compulsory, but it is very, very important, because the Prophet ﷺ made us to know that there is none of the companion that has enough to do Waqf but did not do it. All of them, as little as possible and as much as possible. An interesting thing about Waqf is that it's not restricted to the Muslims. Non-Muslims can equally partake in Waqf. Then the question is, what is Waqf? Waqf is an Islamic endowment. That's the best we can say. It's an Islamic endowment that somebody put forward for the benefit of the needy and the poor in the society. All this is showing the beauty of Islam, that wealth must come from the rich to the poor. If wealth comes to the rich to the poor from the rich, definitely the environment will be better off. The root cause of most conflicts in our community today is about redistribution of wealth. Many people have access to wealth, while majority of other peoples are wallowing in poverty. And how do you expect those who are in poverty to have a better relationship with the wealthy one that refuse to share their wealth with them? So it is important for us to understand these two concepts as Muslims. And if you go through many verses of the Quran, you will discover that most of the time Allah will be saying that we should ensure that wealth comes from the wealthy people to the poor. That's what Allah will tell you from time to time, so that we can have a better society. The root cause of most problems, as I've rightly said, is redistribution of wealth. When you get to a community and you find out what exactly are you fighting about, when you take your time to do the analysis of the issues, you will discover it's about some have wealth and they still want to take from the poor. And most of the time, the poor are the ones suffering all the time. What Islam has put forward is to ensure that those who have wealth must make sure that the wealth goes to those who doesn't have. And that's why the first one, this is Zakat, is compulsory. A conscious Muslim that's living in a community must ensure that his Zakat is paid. And the Zakat is used to take so many people out of poverty. Many people should be engaged. It is not enough to say, I'll be giving them food when it's month of Ramadan. On Friday, I will give them 5 naira or 10 naira Sadaqat. That's not what Islam wants. Islam emphasizes that there is a right of the poor in the world that Allah has given to you. And that's why Islam emphasizes that Zakat must be collected from the rich and give to the poor. And this poor must be engaged to use the wealth constructively, must be engaged to use the wealth judiciously. And that is why Zakat is not what you distribute the way you like. We have to carefully select the beneficiary in a community to bring in more wealthy people in the community. Once somebody collects his Zakat, it should be enough for him to take him out of poverty and he will become engaged. Once he's engaged and is busy doing one thing or the other as a means of livelihood, you can't ask him to come and engage in a clash. Take, for example, somebody who is a carpenter that has his tools and everything nearby, and you want to cause a clash. He will be afraid that if this clash starts, they might destroy all his carpentry tools. He will definitely not want the clashes. He won't want war to happen in his community. So also, the poor boy that is outside there that's not going to school because the school fees cannot be paid, and we use Zakat or Waqf money to take him back to school, definitely is equally engaged. And by so doing, you are employing the Zakat, you are employing the Waqf to take people outside, poverty level, indolence. You are taking them to a level where they will equally be contributing positively to development of the community. The more of this kind of intervention that we have, the more likelihood that most of the people in that community will be engaged in one thing or the other. And that proverb that idle work is a devil workshop will not apply to our community. But when you have a community where those who have continue to have, and those who doesn't have continue to be poor, definitely you won't have a development in that community. You won't have a development. The community will not develop. And that's why these two tools, this institution of Zakat as well as Waqf, are out to support the community, to reduce the conflict that will have come from idleness, that will have come from people who doesn't have anything doing. You have succeeded in taking them out of this mess, and they are already working. The environment is engaging them positively. All this will contribute to the development of environment. If you look at what we have been doing at Zakat and Sadaqat Foundation, you will see that in one way or the other, we have been building a peaceful community. We pay school fees, we engage people who doesn't have work, interview them, identifying their need, and by so doing, empowering them, thereby reducing the number of people that are not working in our community. We are reducing the number of out of school in our community. When all these are being done, what do you think will happen? We are going to have an environment whereby there will be less trouble spots. There will be minimal conflict because everybody seems to be busy with one thing or the other. Not only that, we are building free water resources for the community, so that instead of fighting to get water, they have enough. And not just enough water, they are having water that is drinkable, water that is healthier, that will not cause diseases for them. These are the kind of what Zakat and Waqf will assist in our environment when they are well practiced. But in a situation whereby people don't pay Zakat, they don't do Waqf, they don't do Sadaqat, how will the environment develop? We can't rely on the government to do everything for us. And that's the whole idea about coming up with Zakat and Sadaqah Foundation, Zakat and Sadaqat Waqf Foundation, to ensure that we judiciously use the opportunity God has given to all of us. As I've said, you can initiate your own Waqf, and you can as well pay your Zakat by calling on us to give you assistance on how to go about it if you don't have idea. That's why these foundations were actually set up. Zakat and Zakat Foundation give birth to Zakat and Sadaqah Waqf Foundation, so that we can both cooperate with each other to deliver this institution, to deliver charity to well-meaningful Nigerians. The situation we are passing through now call for the support that all of us need to support this initiative so that we can reduce the suffering of our dear brothers and sisters who are in their need. I want to thank you for being there for us. All of you who have been paying your Zakat, those of you who have been doing your Zakat, you have initialized your Zakat with us. We will continue to do justice to every single kobo that you are able to put forward to us to ensure we have a very good and peaceful community. Until next time when we'll be meeting, I remain here sincerely, Sulaiman Olagunju for Zakat and Sadaqah Foundation.
آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله والبعث بعد الموت لا إله إلا الله آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم